Hey, Andrew here from The Investor's Way, and welcome to Woody's Weekly Wisdom episode number 54. And we're coming back after a short break of a couple of weeks with no episode. So hopefully you're all excited to dive into this week's episode where I'm talking about this headline. So it says, MAP reveals the truth about Aussies' struggles amid cost of living crisis. Pardon me. So what is the truth that this map tells us about our struggles amid the cost of living crisis? And you probably don't need me to tell you what the Aussie struggles are when it comes to the cost of living crisis. There are certain things that have just continued to get out of control when it comes to pricing, and this article does nothing more than reinforce what those items are. But as is always the case with the Woody's Weekly Wisdom, let's try and use this information to our advantage when it comes to growing our wealth. So as you can imagine, rising food and energy prices are among the major concerns. And that's no surprise. Energy prices have been going up for decades, and even more so since the deregulation of the energy market, something I have a little bit of personal experience with, having worked in that market and seen what was going on in that market and why prices were going up. And no surprise, they're going up because the government never invested, when they controlled it all, they never invested in the infrastructure, and now it's very old and needs lots of repairs. And so prices have got to go up in order to fund it. So that's the energy side of things, and that's my rant out of the way. But obviously, rising food prices are a major impact, and no surprise also, pardon me, is that one of the other big impacts, and it's shown in the orange colour on this map, is rent or housing. So mortgages, or rent, is orange, food is blue, mortgages are navy, electricity is yellow, and other costs are purple. And it's very hard to see in this map because they're all on top of each other. And because we live on the coasts in this country, it's not the most spectacularly designed map to tell the story. But as you can imagine, it's the core things of housing, either rent or mortgage, electricity, food, and then other. And that is as a result of all the things going on, interest rate rises, and that that becomes this circular argument where we've got prices going up because interest rates are going up, and therefore inflation's going up, which is then causing other prices to go up, and the flow-on effect of all that. So it becomes a little bit self-fulfilling, and we've talked about that phenomenon a lot on the Weekly Wisdom videos, and this map just tends to confirm everything that we're saying. And and here it's saying basically that 89% of Aussies are concerned about those core issues, and there's no surprise there. And housing obviously is the number one concern because of whether it's a rising rent or a rising mortgage, it's putting pressure on everybody. We heard this week inflation has risen back up to 3.6% for the 12 months to April. And once again, housing, food and non-alcoholic beverages, alcohol and transport are the big impactors. And it's as I said, it's always this self-fulfilling scenario where if interest rates go up and a business has to pay more, or a landlord has to pay more for their product, then they're going to pass that down to the consumer. And so we're seeing that across the board. And as a result, we're seeing prices go up. So here they're starting to now separate out the main concerns. So this one's looking at food, and you can see where everybody has rated that as a concern, and as per normal on the coast in the major cities. So not a surprise in terms of what we should expect to see there. And if we keep scrolling down, it's basically saying that all of these things are having an impact on pretty much everything that we spend our money on, even including our health care, and that's going to flow on to the costs of Medicare, which is then going to hurt the budget, the government budget, and it's just got ramifications left, right, and centre when it comes to this. Then we dive into this part of the article, and I'm going to get to how we can use this information, but let's just go through the article first. Now, dumpster diving, probably not a heading that you might have expected in this particular article. Pardon me. Yeah, dumpster diving is not something that we've probably heard a lot about. And here we are, somebody from Tasmania, rural Tasmania, talking about how they're hanging out at major food outlets like Woolworths and Coles and going through the dumpster to find stuff that the retailer has thrown out because it's either got damaged damaged packaging, or it's close to expiry date, and so they're throwing it out. And this person recommends the best way to deal with all these rising costs is to go dumpster diving and pick yourself up some free food that, with a little bit of tidy up, is useful. Now, I am certainly not going to recommend that you go dumpster diving, and in fact, I find that one a little bit, bottom of the barrel type of scenario. But if you're in a situation and that's what you got to do, then knock yourself out. And then we're talking about the political inaction, and it shouldn't surprise you that political inaction is a thing. There's not a lot coming from the government to support you or I. A $300 handout for your electricity bill is not going to move the needle a great deal. What they really need to be doing is putting pressure to bring the interest rates down so that has the ability to flow on through the whole economy and bring this inflation back down, because it all starts with the cost of housing. And if interest rates keep going up, this sledgehammer that they use supposedly to rein in our spending is not going to do a solitary thing. So political inaction, unsurprisingly, it is an issue. So how can you use this information and improve your own scenario? Well, it comes down to having a plan for your money. And if you've been in my world for any length of time, you'll know that I talk about having a plan for your money all the time. And I have a great tool. It's a money planner tool, and it looks and smells like a budget, but we take it well beyond the limitations of a budget. And we use this tool to plan how we want to spend our money. And then that enables us, once we've created this environment for success with our money, to prevent us from overspending. And whilst I recognise that the rising cost of living is something that's requiring a bit of management at the moment, once we are in an environment for success with our money, we're much more likely to be able to manage it more effectively. So if the rising cost of living is putting a lot of pressure on your scenario, on your financial scenario, on your household income and expenditure, then I highly recommend reaching out to us and asking us about how you can get access to the money planner and how we can help you manage that scenario so that you create an environment around your money that leads to success. And ultimately, this map that reveals the truth about our struggles amid the cost of living crisis is just highlighting what I expect and suspect that you already knew and are already seeing in your financial scenario, where the cost of maintaining your housing is going up, the cost of food is going up, the cost of electricity is going up, and you're seeing and feeling that long before this article comes along with its pretty map. Not to say that it's a bad thing, but generally speaking, this map does not tell us anything that we didn't already know. And realistically, it's just reflecting exactly what we expected, what we know, what we're feeling, and how we're trying, and I guess what we're trying to manage when it comes to our own personal circumstances. But what I would say is use this article, use this headline to put some focus on your weekly and monthly income and expenditure, and have a plan for your money so that there are no surprises, and that you know exactly what cash flow you have available to meet those core expenses. Because let's face it, they're all core expenses. You can't dodge those expenses. And that then tells you how much you've got for the fun stuff. And when you know how much you've got for the fun stuff, you're less inclined to overspend. But if you're not focused on these numbers, it's very easy to overspend and then find yourself in a position where you're unable to pay for these more essential things, and we don't want that to happen. So if you're looking to grow your wealth, hopefully we're not in a position where every dollar counts, and you do have some surplus that you can put into investing. And understanding the impact of this cost of living crisis is something that you can incorporate in your money plan, so that you're taking care of the essentials, you're taking care of the fun stuff, and at the same time you're putting some aside for the future self when you're not going to be able to work and not be able to generate an income from your personal exertion. And that's something that a lot of people overlook, forget, and don't plan for. So have a plan and be well and truly on your way to managing, as this headline says, the struggles amid the cost of living crisis. So that's this week's Weekly Wisdom, episode number 54. Do us a huge favor, and if you're watching this on YouTube, click the little bell and the subscribe button that are going to be up there, and leave us a comment down below underneath the video just to let us know what you thought. And if you're watching on Facebook or LinkedIn or any other place that this might pop up, feel free to hit the like button, the comment button, the share button as well. And let's spread the news so that more and more people can get their weekly wisdom and hopefully have better money outcomes. Have a great week. We'll see you again next week. Cheers.